Welcome to the deep dive. You're looking to really get your head around something big, something that's kind of woven into everything, but, without getting totally overwhelmed. That's what we do here.
Mm-hmm.
Today, we're diving into a concept that's so fundamental, it often just fades into the background. Change itself.
Right. It's everywhere.
Exactly. And we're looking at it through a really interesting lens in AI's perspective on change as this, universal force that shapes everything, all of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
We've got this really broad analysis from the AI. It looks at how change works not just in our own lives day to day,
Right.
but across whole societies, across history, even down to the physics of the universe.
Wow, okay.
So our mission, our goal for this deep dive is really to pull out the most important insights from that AI analysis, those bits that make you stop and think,
Those aha moments.
Exactly, to really grasp how deep and multifaceted change truly is.
Okay, let's jump right in then. How does the AI actually define change? What's the starting point?
So at its core, the AI defines change pretty simply. It's any alteration or transformation of something over time.
Okay. Alteration or transformation?
Yeah. And it stresses this can affect its form, how it looks or its state, like ice melting to water.
Solid to liquid, right.
Its actual substance, or even just where it is, its position.
Mm-hmm.
But what's really interesting right off the bat
Yeah.
is how the AI sees it, not as something forced on things from the outside.
Not external.
Exactly. But as something just intrinsic,
Mm-hmm.
an inherent characteristic of the universe itself.
So it's not something we can avoid. It's literally part of the fabric of reality. That's a big idea.
It really is.
And to kind of see how this works in practice, the AI looks at change through different life stages, doesn't it? Let's maybe trace that. Start at the beginning.
Absolutely. Let's take infancy.
Right.
The AI points to just the sheer speed of transformation then. You've got rapid physical growth, obviously.
Yeah, huge leaps.
Huge leaps in cognitive stuff, like learning to talk, figuring things out, and then all the emotional development happening too. It's a phase that's almost entirely defined by constant change.
And then, childhood. Maybe the physical growth isn't quite as explosive, but our understanding, how we see the world, that goes through a massive shift.
Precisely. The AI really highlights those developmental changes, how kids understand concepts, how their social skills grow as they learn to, interact.
Play together, not just side by side.
Exactly. That shift from just playing near someone to actually cooperating in games. That's a huge change in their social world, driven by internal development, and physical skills keep developing too, of course.
Adolescence. Right. I think most of us remember that feeling like a total whirlwind of change.
Oh, definitely. And the AI correctly points out the really obvious hormonal and physical changes, puberty and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But it also brings in the huge emotional shifts and how cultural expectations change for teenagers, what society expects of them. It's a real convergence of transformations.
In adulthood, it can sometimes feel a bit more stable, maybe. But the AI suggests it's still a constant process of, evolution. It doesn't stop, does it?
Or not at all. The AI notes the ongoing changes, career shifts, relationships starting, ending, evolving.
Family changes.
Family dynamics changing, yeah. Health, ups and downs. Even our core beliefs and values can shift as we have new experiences, learn new things.
Right.
And on top of that, you have society and technology constantly changing the landscape around us, influencing adult life.
Even later in life, when maybe some external changes slow down, there are still really significant shifts happening, maybe more internally or in our roles.
Exactly right. The AI mentions, the physiological changes that come with aging.
Sure.
But also shifts in social roles, retirement, maybe changes in family structure again.
Okay.
And often this kind of deep reevaluation of life, of perspectives that happens. It's a different kind of change maybe, but it's definitely still transformation.
Okay, so it's clear how change shapes us individually. But the AI also zooms out, right? Looks at bigger patterns across cultures and through history.
It does, yeah. And when you look across cultures, what's interesting in the AI's view is that, the way we mark transitions varies hugely. Think about rituals, coming-of-age ceremonies.
Just so different everywhere.
Totally different. But the underlying experience of moving from one state to another, the AI says that's universal. Whether it's, a nomadic tribe adapting to where the resources are.
Or us adapting to a new smartphone app.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Or a whole society embracing a new technology. It's still about change in response to new conditions or possibilities. It's a fundamental human constant.
And history itself, I mean, the AI basically frames history as the story of change, doesn't it? Which seems obvious when you say it, but...
It really clarifies it.
Yeah.
The AI points to the huge turning points, agriculture starting, civilizations rising and falling, the Industrial Revolution, now the digital age we're in.
Each one a massive transformation.
Exactly. Defined by fundamental changes in technology, how society is structured, how we even understand the world. History isn't just a list of dates. It's the narrative of continuous transformation shaping humanity.
So it really does touch every single part of life. The AI gets into specific examples too, personal life, societal structures, even the environment.
Precisely. On the personal front, the AI reminds us change hits everything. Our relationships, how they start, grow, maybe end.
Careers.
Career paths, yeah. Our health, where we live, even our deepest beliefs and values aren't set in stone.
And looking bigger at society structures, laws, governments, economies, they aren't fixed either, are they?
Not even close. The AI emphasizes this constant evolution. Legal systems change, governments change form, economies shift, how we educate people evolves, social norms definitely change.
Sometimes slowly, sometimes through big upheavals.
Right. Revolutions, reforms, gradual adaptations, all societal change, just at different speeds and scales.
And then there's the environment, which is always in flux. Weather, seasons.
Yeah, the AI points to the natural cycles. Climate shifts, ecosystems are dynamic, geological processes are ongoing.
But it also brings in our impact, right?
Oh, absolutely. It clearly acknowledges the huge role human actions now play in driving environmental change, creating this really complex interaction between natural and human-driven transformations.
Okay, this is where I find it gets really fascinating when the AI connects change to these really fundamental concepts in different fields. Let's start with time and history.
Yeah, this is cool. The AI basically positions change as the bedrock of history and even how we perceive time.
How so?
It suggests our whole understanding of the past is built on a sequence of events, right? And each event is a change from what came before.
Okay, makes sense.
Even our basic sense of time passing is tied to observing changes. The sun and moon moving across the sky, giving us days and nights.
The seasons changing.
The seasons marking the year, life cycles. We perceive time through change.
And then biology and genetics. I mean, change seems absolutely central there.
Oh, completely. The AI highlights that life is fundamentally a process of change. Evolution itself. That's change driven by genetic mutations and natural selection adapting to shifting environments.
Right. Survival of the adaptable, essentially.
In a way, yes. And even within one organism, our life cycle, birth, growth, aging, it's all biological change. Plus, think about homeostasis. Our bodies are constantly making tiny internal changes to stay stable despite external changes. It's dynamic.
Philosophy, too. Philosophers have wrestled with change for ages, haven't they? That river quote always comes up.
It does. The AI mentions Heraclitus. You can't step into the same river twice as the classic example of philosophy grappling with this constant flux.
The idea that everything is always becoming something else.
Exactly. It connects change to those core ideas. Being versus becoming. Time, causality, cause and effect as a sequence of changes. And even existentialism, which really emphasizes our freedom and responsibility to choose within a world that's constantly changing around us.
And physics, which is at its heart about how things move and interact.
Right.
Which is change.
Precisely. The AI describes the whole universe as fundamentally dynamic. Everything from, subatomic particles buzzing around to entire galaxies moving. It's all in motion, all transforming.
It mentions thermodynamics, too. Entropy.
Yeah, it touches on thermodynamics and entropy, this sort of natural tendency towards increasing disorder or randomness over time as a fundamental driver of change.
Okay.
And Einstein's relativity comes up, too, showing that space and time themselves aren't fixed backgrounds, but are dynamic, interwoven, changed by mass and energy.
And the Big Bang is the ultimate starting point of cosmic change.
Right, is this ongoing process of expansion and evolution that continues today.
Okay, now let's shift to something that feels maybe less fluid. Mathematics. How does math handle change?
Well, this is where math gets really powerful, actually. The AI explains that math gives us the precise tools to model and quantify change.
Like calculus.
Exactly like calculus. Derivatives tell you the rate of change, how fast something is changing at any given moment. Integrals let you figure out the total accumulation of change over a period. Differential equations describe how whole systems evolve based on these rates. And statistics helps us find patterns and trends in data that's constantly shifting.
You mentioned that population growth example the AI used. Can we revisit that quickly? How did it work?
Yeah, it was a simple but effective one. The equation was basically P equals 10,000 plus 500t.
So PT is population at time t.
Right, t being years. 10,000 is the starting population, and you add 500 people each year.
Okay, straightforward linear growth.
Exactly. And the calculus part, the derivative, which measures the rate of change, it's just 500.
Meaning the population grows by 500 people per year, constantly.
Precisely. It's basic, but it shows how calculus can nail down that rate of change very clearly.
That does make it concrete. Okay, and what about logic? That feels like it should be about unchanging truths. How does it deal with change?
Well, logic has to be adaptable too, the AI points out. It needs to handle new information. Think about inductive reasoning. We see patterns of change and draw general conclusions.
Like, if the sun rises every day, we conclude it will rise tomorrow, based on observed change, or lack thereof.
Sort of, yeah. And the AI also mentions something called non-monotonic logic, which is specifically about how sometimes new information can actually overturn conclusions we previously thought were logically sound.
Because the situation changed.
Exactly. Our understanding has to adapt to a changing reality.
And our own state of mind, our emotions, constantly reacting to change, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. The AI highlights that whole spectrum: excitement, anxiety, resistance, acceptance. We feel it all in response to change. And it really underscores how important adaptability and resilience are, our psychological ability to cope and navigate these shifts.
Yeah.
There are whole psychological theories about how we manage change and can even grow from it.
Right, seeing challenges as opportunities sometimes.
Potentially, yeah.
And finally, belief systems. Religions, ideologies, they often seem to aim for permanence, but the AI says they change too.
They absolutely do. The AI notes how religions evolve interpretations or practices over centuries. Political ideologies rise, dominate, and then maybe fade or transform based on changing social conditions.
Scientific ideas change too. Paradigm shifts.
Big time. Scientific paradigms shift as new evidence comes to light. The AI suggests that the ability of any belief system, religious, political, scientific, to adapt to new information and changing contexts is often key to its long-term survival and relevance.
It's really striking how interconnected this all is. The AI brings that out too, right? How individual changes ripple outwards and big societal changes affect individuals.
That interconnectedness is a huge theme. The AI uses examples like, say, someone losing their job. That doesn't just affect them.
Affects their family, maybe their community.
Right. Or think about a marriage. It creates new relationships, changes existing family dynamics. Change rarely happens in a vacuum. It sends out ripples.
And when we look at really big global changes like a technological revolution or a pandemic, the world's reaction is always super complex, isn't it?
Definitely. The AI touches on that complexity. You see disruption, sure, but also often a burst of innovation as people try to solve new problems.
Governments scramble to make policies.
Governments try to manage it, yeah. There's huge public debate, discourse trying to make sense of it all. It's multifaceted.
Okay, so given that change is this constant, powerful force, how do we get better at dealing with it? Does the AI offer any strategies for improving adaptation?
It does suggest a few approaches. One big one is education and committing to lifelong learning.
To keep up.
Yeah, to keep skills relevant for changing job markets, to understand societal shifts. Another key is building resilience, psychological strength, strong social support networks, looking after mental well-being.
So personal and community strength.
Exactly. And then there's proactive planning and foresight, trying to anticipate changes, building flexible systems, whether that's infrastructure or policies, that can adapt.
It also mentioned flexibility in work and education and safety nets.
Right. Encouraging adaptability in how we work and learn.
Yeah.
And crucially, investing in social safety nets to support people who are negatively impacted by major changes, like job displacement due to automation, for instance.
Makes sense. Now, circling back quickly to the math and logic side, we had the calculus example. What about statistics for prediction?
The AI highlights using statistical models. You look at historical data, how things have changed to spot trends and patterns.
And use that to forecast.
Yeah, to try and make informed predictions about future changes. Think climate modeling or economic forecasting. It's about using past change to anticipate future change.
And logic in decision-making when things are shifting.
The AI explains it as adapting strategy based on observation. The example was a business seeing sales drop and logically concluding they need to change their marketing or product. It's about reasoning through the implications of observed change.
You also mentioned that other formula, the exponential one, N-E-A-E-R-E-R. What kind of change does that show?
Ah, right. That describes exponential growth or decay. That's where the rate of change itself depends on how much stuff there already is.
Like population growth, potentially, or disease spread.
Exactly. The more individuals there are, the faster the total number can grow, potentially. Or compound interest. It models things that accelerate. It's a really important pattern of change in many natural and social systems.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, as we finish this deep dive, what's the main takeaway, the core message from the AI's analysis?
I think the most profound conclusion the AI reaches is that change isn't just, something that happens in the universe. It's a fundamental necessity for existence within it.
A necessity? How so?
Well, the basic laws of physics, like thermodynamics, drive things towards change. Biology is change, evolution, life cycles. And societal progress, innovation, adaptation, that's all change too. The AI essentially argues that to exist is to change. Stillness, true stasis, isn't really compatible with how the universe or life works.
Wow. Okay. So change isn't just something that happens to us or around us. It's fundamentally intertwined with the fact of existence itself.
That's the core insight.
Understanding that, really internalizing it the way this AI analysis lays it out, it offers a completely different lens to view, well, pretty much everything, doesn't it?
It really does. And by seeing change as this fundamental, universal, multifaceted thing, the hope is maybe we can navigate the world with a bit more insight, maybe more effectively, perhaps even with more acceptance of the constant flux.
So here's a final thought to leave you with, building on all this. As you reflect on our deep dive today into the AI's perspective, considering that change truly is the fabric of existence, what's one area, maybe in your own life or just in the world around you, where actively embracing change rather than resisting it might actually open up unexpected growth or progress?
That's a good question to ponder.
Something to think about. Thanks for exploring this deep dive with us.
This is DigitView.